Sejun is lying down as he wonders if he is on a floor so high that no one has yet reached it. But then water drops fall on his face, and Sejun gets up. Was it raining in the tower? He had heard that the weather was almost always pleasant, and as he looks up, the sky is clear too. But he spots something moving very fast and gets scared that it is a monster. But the creature he just saw comes forward, and it is a cute rabbit drooling over Sejun's crops. Sejun is surprised and wonders if the rabbit was a monster too. The rabbit jumps down the hole, and Sejun rushes to catch it. But the rabbit uses his head as a stepping stone and lands safely on the ground. He hops to the green onion plants, and Sejun realizes that the rabbit was something extraordinary. The rabbit points at the green onion plants, and Sejun asks if he wants to eat them. The rabbit gives his response, and Sejun understands that he wants to eat. He breaks the leaf of the green onion and gives it to the rabbit, who gladly takes it. He eats it greedily, and Sejun tells him that he could have more if he liked it. And then Sejun notices that the plants have already grown back. At this rate, he will have to harvest them twice daily. But the rabbit starts saying something loudly, and Sejun finds he is not talking to him. He looks above, to the entrance of the cave, and finds another rabbit coming towards them. She lands and hands the first rabbit a straw hat and a watering can, and they both stand in front of Sejun. Sejun is surprised to see another rabbit, but then he thinks that the two are somehow related. He asks the rabbits if they are married, and they tell him that he is right. Sejun starts thinking of keeping a diary of his life in the tower, and on the first page of that diary, there will be the story of a rabbit couple who joined him in the cave. The rabbit couple starts working for Sejun, and their job is to help him raise and harvest the crops. They are chatting with each other as they do their jobs, and Sejun can tell that they are a great couple, even though he does not understand them. But he wonders how it came to this. Yesterday, after the rabbits introduced themselves to Sejun, they told him that they wanted to live in the cave, and they looked too cute as they tried to persuade him. Sejun felt that he might die from a cuteness overdose and accepted their request with a condition. He told the rabbits that they could not live here for free. If they helped him in farming, he would consider letting them stay. He thought it would dissuade the rabbits a bit, but instead of hesitating, they jumped at him and started cuddling. And Sejun had to show great restraint to not let them in without a test, because cuddling with their soft fur made him want to adopt them both. Now he is sitting in his position, watching the rabbits work. He thinks that the rabbits were using their cuteness to control him, but he lets that slide. But on that note, he asks the rabbits if the tools they were using were items. The husband rabbit had a watering can that seemed to have an endless supply of water, and Sejun is not sure about it. But it seemed to him that the wife rabbit had a magic pocket that contained all the tools she needed for farming. Sejun says that he was jealous and wished that he had such a wonderful item. The rabbits have completed harvesting the green onions, and they are excited to show them to Sejun. Sejun tells them to dry the green onions and starts inspecting other crops too. But the rabbits are looking at Sejun with eager and impatient eyes. They are asking him a question, and Sejun understands what they want. He tells them that they passed his test, and now they could live in the cave. The rabbits jump for joy upon hearing the good news and start talking about something. They rush to a corner of the cave, and Sejun wonders what they are up to now. The wife gives her husband a shovel, and he starts digging. And in no time, he creates a home for himself and his wife. The wife places a floral wreath on the door to their new house and welcomes her husband to enter. But he is exhausted from digging and building a house and can barely stand. Sejun approaches them and says that the husband rabbit was great for making a house so quickly. The husband rabbit gives him a thumbs up, but then he feels his wife's hand on his shoulder. She is blushing and cutely pointing at the door, and the husband is terrified. He is scared, but his wife drags him along for some sweet lovemaking. Sejun hears the sounds coming from their house and wishes the husband all the best. But he is crying inside, as he is jealous of him for having a wife. That jealousy does not last long, and Sejun walks back to his spot. He says that it was boring to be alone in the cave, and now, thanks to the rabbits, he had someone to help him and something cute to look for. As he says this, Sejun lies down on the dried onion leaves. Smoke starts rising from under his back, and Sejun feels something hot on his back. He jumps into a standing position and rolls on the ground, feeling that his back is on fire. He is wondering what just happened as he gets up, and he sees the reason behind it. The plastic water bottle filled with water was acting as a lens and burning the dried onion leaves. Inspiration finds Sejun, and he goes into full wild survival mode. He starts acting like the host of a popular survival show. He says that the environment in the tower was hard, but he did not give up. He had a plastic bottle and dried green onions that helped him survive. Coming back to his normal self, Sejun says that he can use the plastic bottle as a convex lens to start a fire. He had learned that from a famous survival show. But it does not work, and Sejun starts to cry and whine. The leaves only gave out a little smoke but did not catch fire. As he sighs, thinking about what he's doing wrong, a small spark lights up, and Sejun has found the missing piece. The rabbits come out of their house and spot Sejun doing something they do not understand. He is blowing wind on the pile of dried leaves, hoping that they catch fire. The rabbits approach him, and Sejun asks them to blow wind on the leaves while he uses the bottle as a lens. They start working together, and Sejun begs for a fire to start. And just after a little while of trying, the leaves catch fire. Sejun is elated. He finally has fire. He looks back at the onion plants and decides to cook them. He cooks one stalk over the fire, and the rabbits stare at him with confusion. Sejun thinks that his onion was cooked enough. He peels the burnt part and then takes a bite. The rabbits see him shuddering, and Sejun lets out a cry of joy. The cooked onion leaf was so sweet that Sejun was overjoyed. He thinks that his mouth felt like a green horse running wild in a green field. He repeats that it is delicious and starts roasting another one. The rabbits are also curious about what difference cooking would make, so they roast one for themselves. And as they eat it, their eyes gleam with the joy of eating something so sweet. This is the second entry in Sejun's diary about staying in the tower. He discovered fire, ate warm food, and went peacefully to bed. Many days have passed, and now Sejun is used to the lifestyle of a farmer. He wakes up in the morning and goes to wash his face at the pond. He returns to his crops, and now the cherry tomato and sweet potato plants have also grown considerably. He has completed harvesting the green onions for the day. Also, he has finished watering the tomato and sweet potato plants. Sejun is now all set for the day, and he feels really good. A lot of things have happened in the past few days. After he discovered fire with the help of rabbits, they made torches out of green onion leaves and put them around the cave. That helped him roam around the cave easily, especially in the dark areas like the pond. He was near the pond with a torch in his hand when he saw something moving in the water. A fish jumped out of the water, and Sejun was so startled that he barely dodged its open mouth. The fish had jumped with too much power and found itself on land, not able to return to the water. This was the first time Sejun had seen it. He wonders if the fish was attracted to the light of the torch, and his intuition is proved correct. And just like that, Sejun discovered fish in the cave. He kills the fish and roasts it over the fire. Even though he has no seasoning, the fish is really tasty. Sejun finds the rabbits drooling as he eats the fish and asking for their share. He is shocked. He had not expected rabbits to be meat-eaters. But since they were basically monsters, he thinks it was natural. 2 days after that, the blue moon showed up. And using his phone, Sejun found out that the blue moon appeared every 30 days on this floor. He was using a laptop and a power bank to keep his phone charged so that he could keep track of the date. But their batteries also dried out eventually. So Sejun had no choice but to start marking the number of days on a wall. And this was how he was keeping track of time now. Back in the present, it is the 61st day. And Sejun thanks the rabbits that go to bed exactly at 7 p.m. and wake up at 5 a.m. Because of that, he can keep counting the days without making mistakes. And even though the sun never set inside the tower, their body clock was adequately reliable. And a few days ago, something amazing happened. We see the tired husband rabbit open the door of his house, and without wasting a moment, a group of baby rabbits bolt out. They were the children of the rabbit couple that were recently born. And now they are fond of Sejun, who is their uncle. They run straight at Sejun and jump on him, casting him to the ground. They are really cute, and Sejun cannot get enough of their cuteness. Even as they chomp his face, he laughs and enjoys their company. Sejun looks at the sleep-deprived husband rabbit and says that it must be hard raising babies. But right now, he says that he will take care of the babies for a while, and the couple should relax and eat breakfast. The cherry tomato plants have started flowering, and Sejun takes the baby rabbits with him to check them out. The babies are frolicking around on the farm as Sejun checks out his plants. The flowers had bloomed, and even though they were tomato flowers, Sejun now thinks he has a flower garden. To bear fruit, pollination is necessary, and he has to do it manually. Sejun uses a small stick to artificially pollinate the flowers, but all the bending and working is taking a toll on his back. He says that it would be great if there were bees around here, but thinks that he is asking for too much. A baby puts his face inside a flower and gets pollen on his face. He sneezes, and Sejun starts laughing. But then Sejun notices something. The tomato plants have started to bear fruit. After so long, his hard work is starting to show some results. Sejun celebrates the first fruits of his cherry tomato plants and dances with the baby rabbit. This day is the one before the blue moon, and as it is about to approach, Sejun makes preparations to survive it. He puts out the fire and stores a small amount of burning leaves under huge boulders. He is wearing makeshift clothes made from onion leaves and thinks that it will be enough to stay warm and hidden. The rabbits also head back to their homes as the time for the blue moon draws near. There is something scary that happens whenever the blue moon occurs, and Sejun is confident that they are going to survive it like the previous ones. He thinks it's going to be a piece of cake and goes into hiding. The blue moon starts, and monsters start screeching throughout the forest. Sejun is not afraid, but he is tired and hopes that the blue moon ends soon. To prepare for an unlikely situation, he has already hidden the things with a strong odor and is now hiding in a corner. But since it is hard to tell how much time has passed, he is getting tired of waiting. The monster cries do not help either, they are far away, but they can still make him shiver. As he hopes that this blue moon also passes without incident, he hears a loud roar. It was different and more intense than the voice of other monsters, almost like it was close to him. And indeed, a huge monster was walking towards the cave, squashing full-grown trees beneath its feet. He approaches the entrance to the cave, which is too small in comparison to its size. The monster stares down the hole, and inside, Sejun gapes as he sees it. Now he is scared of the giant bear-like monster in front of him. But thankfully, the monster has not noticed him yet. Sejun thinks he should hide in a better place before the monster spots him. He is trembling as he picks up his bag and starts moving quietly and slowly. But taking the bag with him turns out to be a mistake. The things inside the bag drop as Sejun picks them up, and because of the loud noise created by the empty water bottle, the monster's attention is attracted. Sejun stares in horror, first at his stuff and then up at the beast, who is now trying to peep inside the cave. Sejun screams in fear, and the bear roars in response. But a few moments later, Sejun is sound asleep, and the rabbits are trying to wake him up. When the baby rabbits fail to wake him up, their father slaps Sejun, and he gets up. He gets up in shock, still afraid of what he saw before passing out. He asks the rabbits what happened to the blue moon, and as he looks around, he realizes that it was over. The husband rabbit tells Sejun that he was unconscious when they found him, and he says that he passed away when he saw a monster. But he himself wants to know what happened after that. When he saw the monster trying to force his entry into the cave, he was terrified and could not move. The monster roared, and he passed out. Sejun remembers it and shivers. He almost lost his life at the hands of that monster. He is feeling cold, and the wife rabbit creates a big fire and a blanket of onion leaves. Sejun sits in front of the fire with the baby rabbit snuggled up with him. The wife's rabbit also brings him roasted fish, and Sejun thanks her. As Sejun is eating, he realizes that the monster has noticed this place. It may have been because of another monster or because it could not get inside the cave because of the small entrance. But the monster left without causing harm. But there was no guarantee that if it came the next time, he would stay safe. He thinks that he got lucky this time, but it may go differently next time. After everything he has done to survive, he does not want to die, and he thinks that what he could do right now is eat well and survive. Sejun is eating his fish when the husband rabbit comes to him, wanting to show him something. Sejun follows him and finds something unbelievable. A cherry tomato was ripe, but it was nothing like he had expected. It was blue and glistening in the sunlight. Sejun is shocked, but the blue color is not the first thing he notices about the fruit. He bows down and tries to pick up the big and ripe fruit, and then he wonders why it was blue. He wonders if the tomato is ripe, and just then, something appears in front of him. A window opens up in front of Sejun, and it tells him that he has completed the quest to harvest a fruit containing the energy of the blue moon. Sejun is shocked. He cannot believe that the thing in front of him was an actual message window. The message on the window changes, and now it says that the manager was interested in him because of his amazing achievements. It was keeping a keen eye on Sejun, but it was not happy. Sejun is confused. Why would the tower manager not be happy with him? And the husband rabbit does not know anything that is going on. Sejun is informed that he was not a duly invited guest, and the tower manager has accepted it as a blunder it wants to hide. Sejun is shocked and asks the window what it means. Was it a mistake that he ended up in the tower? He lashes out, saying that after he spent more than 2 months in this place, the tower manager dared to say that it was a mistake. He says that if that were the case, he should be allowed to go home immediately. But the window says that the tower master wanted to kill Sejun to eradicate all proof of this mistake. Sejun is flabbergasted. He screams at the screen, saying that he completed a wonderful achievement, and instead of rewarding him, the manager wanted to kill him. The system window falls silent for a while, and Sejun wonders what was happening. The next message he gets changes his mood from scared and angry to elated. The tower manager is awakening him. Sejun feels an aura surrounding him as soon as the message is displayed. He cannot believe it and confirms with the window that he is officially awake in the tower now. He wants to know his job, and since he thinks that he is smart, he should be a wizard. The tower master is assigning him a job, and Sejun eagerly waits to see which one he will get. And his job is a tower farmer with proficiency of F rank. All the joy and excitement leave Sejun's face, and he goes blank. The windows keep giving him messages about his job. He will never get sick and be close to nature because of his job. And he will get his experience points by harvesting crops. Sejun is shocked. There was no job class other than a warrior, and a magician inside the tower. How could he be a farmer? He commands to open his status window and finds that his talent is ordinary and his stats are all at 1. He stares at his status window, but the only thing he can focus on is his ordinary talent. He thinks of a far-fetched scenario, one of a future where he succeeds in clearing the tower. He is the main guest of a late-night talk show, and the host introduces him as the man who cleared the tower despite having ordinary talent. The host asks the audience to applaud for Sejun and then asks him what his job was. Sejun acts cool, and as he says that he was the tower farmer, everyone finds him attractive. But this imaginary scenario is too pathetic. Even though Sejun has cleared the tower in it, he is still a farmer. He yells out in frustration and tries to smash the blue tomato to the ground, saying he did not need it. But then he looks at the scared and concerned faces of the rabbits and stops. Sejun is taken aback by the influence his actions had on his friends and looks at his farm, then at the tomato in his hand. He was not alone in growing it. Everyone had worked hard to reach this point. Sejun decides that he is going to keep farming, and the rabbits are happy. He looks at the blue tomato in his hand, and an information window opens up, telling him about the tomato. It was a magical cherry tomato, imbued with the power of the blue moon. Not only was it tasty and nutritious, but when consumed, it would increase 0.05 MP permanently. Sejun is shocked. The tomato in his hand was actually an item. Even though the effect was small, it was permanent, and it could boost one's stats. Sejun is amazed by himself. He grew something as great as this. But the tower manager is watching him, and he is not satisfied with how things are going. As Sejun thanks the rabbits and celebrates with them for achieving this feat, a message window pops up in front of him. A quest had been triggered. He had to offer the blue cherry tomato to the manager. The reward for the quest was a job-related skill, and the penalty for refusing was death. Sejun reads the entire message, and when he reads that the penalty was death, he is scared. He asks the window if it wasn't a joke, and if it was in poor taste. He accuses the admin of blackmailing him and using the name of a quest to justify his actions. Sejun tells the admin that if he wants it, he should ask for it properly. If he played dirty games like this and made it look like he was giving Sejun options, that would not be good. Sejun is a bit relieved after venting his anger, but he says that how worthless was his life to the admin if it would kill him just for not giving up one tomato. But even then, the penalty of death cannot make him any braver. He gives up and offers the blue tomato to the administrator, who asks to spare his life. The tomato in Sejun's hands vanishes, and he receives the message that he has completed the quest. The next window has the quest reward, and Sejun is excited to get the reward. He knew it was a job-related skill, but since he was focusing solely on the death penalty, he forgot about it for a moment. Sejun flatters the tower manager and calls him generous. Then he decides to check what kind of skill he has and opens the quest reward. The reward is the skill sowing at level 1. It slightly increases the probability of germination when a seed is planted. Sejun does not understand how to react, but he sure is disappointed. But then he consoles himself by saying that since his job was as a tower farmer, he could not expect much from the reward anyway. He goes to the dark parts of the cave with a torch, and a fish jumps out towards the flame. Sejun uses a club made of green onion stems and leaves to hit it towards the land. The fish dies, and Sejun learns that it was a piranha. He had killed a piranha, and the information window tells him that he got 2 experience points for it. This was the 5th fish Sejun had caught, and with that, he now had 10 experience points. After awakening as a farmer, Sejun was able to collect experience points, and he caught several piranhas every day for several days and reached level 2. He wants to catch more of them, but it is clearly a bad idea. He thinks he should not kill a living thing without reason. Besides, he got valuable protein from the fish. If he killed all of them and their population went extinct, he would not be able to eat them again.
It's the end of this video.
What?
Like and subscribe for more videos.